What's up, guys? It's Brian with Fortune Futures. David and I are back. We got a special guest with Brady back on the show, so we're ready to get right into it. Welcome back.
Welcome to our show.
So what's the difference between what's the process like versus just buying a box house versus custom building one in terms of finances and then the timelines?
Yeah, so the timeline, it all depends on how elaborate you want your house. It could take 6 months to a couple years depending on the complexity of it. And then what materials you choose.
Does the construction loan begin right as you say, we're doing this today?
Basically.
Or does the construction loan begin once it's finished and then it funds the bank?
No, so the construction loan, if you don't have the capital, to build the whole house cash, then you get a construction loan right at the beginning, and then you only pay interest on that loan. You don't pay any principal until the house is done. And then once you get your certificate of residency, then it rolls over into a mortgage. And the certificate of residency basically is after all inspections are done. That's the final inspection saying that it checks all the boxes to be a residence.
That makes sense.
So we were just talking, you wanted to transition. You've been doing a lot of exterior, siding stuff. Now, next year, you want to do 6 custom homes?
Yeah, 6 fully custom homes. So, we have our own capabilities of architecture, and so we can work with the clients to design. We'll help them find a perfect lot for them in the area that they want, and then we'll build a house that they want to fit that lot. And then from there, we'll work with them through the whole design process and make sure that it's to the T exactly what they're looking for to meet their needs. Then we'll start construction and work with them throughout the whole process and be basically their dream builder, have a really close relationship with them and make sure that at the end of the project, it's exactly how they dreamt of it.
So what's the idea? What's the price range you're talking about with these homes?
Yeah, so we can go down as low as $700,000 in this market, but it's all going to depend on the lot price and then the complexity of the home. So
what is a lot price?
Yeah, so it really depends on where you're looking. But if you're in a neighborhood and you can get a lot in that neighborhood, you can get one for sub $50K. But if you're looking to be more out, say in the foothills of Boise, $200-300K for a lot. So So if you get a lot out there, you're not going to get a house for less than $1 million. So
So with you being doing all that, are you still boots on the ground or?
So for right now, on the projects we have going currently, I am. But for the projects from basically a month on out from now, I will no longer be as much hands-on with that stuff. It'll just be more back-end for me. But I've got one of my best employees, Joe. He's an aeronautical engineer. He designed airplanes before he started working for me, and so he's my foreman, and so he runs all my jobs. So
with the 6 homes you plan to do next year, you're just going to be directing the projects. You're not going to be involved.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting.
So how much really trust those people?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to get really good guys in there because it's not what we do is not just anybody can do it. You have to be very skilled. So yeah.
Well, you were in the field all year. Every project you've done, you've been on, right?
Yeah.
So you're transitioning. Similar to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice. Yeah.
How long does a home build take?
So like I said, it depends on the complexity of it, but a cookie cutter, it'll take 3-4 months to be done. Just a really basic spec home. But a more complex home, a year is pretty good, pretty quick. So, yeah.
So how are you going to do 6 of them in 1 year?
It'll be easy. You can have more than one going at a time.
Hire more people?
So running the jobs really isn't that hard. It's just, getting good subs to do the work. So, yeah.
Oh, so you sub some of it out.
Yeah, which every builder does. That's kind of the way to do it. So
yeah. Well, you got your plumbing crew, your electrical crew.
Everything is so specialized that it'd be kind of crazy to have the same guys do everything. So there could be really good at concrete but terrible framers, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's all of them are really unique skill sets.
How do you go about finding your subs?
So there's a few different ways. There's Blue Book. It's like almost like a Facebook of builders or subcontractors, I guess. And so you can put a bid out there. So say, you know, I need HVAC done at this house, and I'll put the bid out. We'll pay, you know, $37,000 for the HVAC. Who wants it? And then people will bite on it, and that's, you know, that's a good way to get it. And then other ways is just calling around, like, hey, what's your availability? I've heard good things about you guys. Can you do this job? Things like that.
And if they can fit it in, they'll give you a bid.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like it.
So.
Interesting.
I just got back from the Andy Elliott event. One of the questions that came up was a subcontractor doing like countertops, and he was asking the guys, he's like, well, dude, I'm competing with contractors, with general contractors who already have a relationship built with these subs, which I'm sure you'll get once you start rolling with houses. Like, you'll have a guy you use every time. He was asking, how does he come in and take the business away? What would you say?
So build a relationship with him. If that guy wants to do granite for, you know, a certain builder, he should take him donuts once a week, and then, you know, take him out to lunch a couple times a month as well, and just get in the door with him. He can become friends with, you know, his dream clients, I guess, a long time before he ever gets a job from them. So, you know, going to, if they have events, go to those events and show up and just be like, you know, just be present in that guy's workspace, I guess, and then eventually, oh, this guy's booked out too far, I'm going with the guy that I already know. Yeah, that's
that relationship built.
Yeah. It's the most important part in business.
It is, yeah. Yeah, and same thing with your clients. Like, say you're a builder and you don't have any jobs lined up, you can go to architects and say, or designers, interior designers, and say, you know, this is what we do. We really want to, you know, work with you guys and just build your projects for you or whatever, because the architects, they already have a client base, and so they're designing homes for clients already. And so if the client, you know, wants this specific home and they're having a hard time finding a builder, but you have a good relationship with the architect company, then, you know, you're gonna get a referral. So yeah, it's a good way to do it. So you're building the team, is that?
That is the goal now for me.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
A sales team?
Yeah,
right
it's been
on.
a struggle, but
yeah.
It's tough.
In what way?
Finding the right people, motivating them to work. It's probably the hardest parts.
What's been working for that?
Motivating?
Yeah.
Money.
Money motivates.
Dude, it's crazy. We threw out like an incentive for the team that I currently have. Hey, whoever gets the most recruits hired by next week gets $1,000 pair of shoes.
Wow.
And how many did we have last night?
I don't know.
It was like 7, 8.
Nice.
Yeah,
right
money motivates.
Yeah. I think that's probably one of the biggest things.
Yeah. Right on. Good deal.
When did you realize you had to build a team to level up? When was that
like realization? Andy Elliott's freaking event. Because we went to that event and they said the most important things are your personal brand on Instagram, pretty much, and then to build a team. You know? And honestly, I burned out of sales probably like 6 months ago. Just kind of checked out from it. Just being real with you guys. And I was like, all right, the next thing I can do is build a big squad, and that's what all the super successful solar guys have done. So
nice. Right on.
Just kind of went for it from there.
Nice. So you're like the GM of Boise or something, or?
Yeah. I would say so. What would you say?
You watch it. Sales manager.
Yeah, sales manager.
Right on.
Probably have what? I mean, after the last hiring, 25?
25, 15. So what did it start with? Started with 3, right? You mean
3. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
3 people. So it's grown quite a bit.
Right
and
on.
your Instagram's played a role in that, right?
80% of my sales teams came from my Instagram.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
which is crazy to think about.
That is crazy.
I mean, last month the team did roughly 1.4 million.
Nice.
So in sales.
Right on. That's
Yeah,
pretty
your
good.
sales team.
Yep. On Instagram. Yeah.
From Instagram, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, I didn't believe that social media actually worked as well as it did.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty ridiculous.
It's pretty funny, dude. A lot of people I'm talking with now are knowing who you are just by like association and seeing your videos on Instagram.
Yeah, yesterday we went to Top Golf and there was a girl there. She's like, "Oh wait, I know you.
Really?
You're that guy in that video."
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Just last night, I
Just
had
last
someone
night.
at dinner too after this event say, I was like talking, oh yeah, something with Brady. She's like, oh, the guy with the blue car?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
people are knowing you.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Nice.
And that
Make
just
yourself
has
marketable.
Yeah, and that's just the whole, like, my whole thought process behind it was, okay, there's no one in Idaho who has, like, a really big social media for solar.
Oh yeah.
There's big solar guys in Texas, California, Florida, all with big personal brands. It's like if you're in California, you're gonna go to Money Mafia.
Oh
If
yeah.
you're in Texas, you're gonna go to Lumio, probably most likely.
Yeah.
I was like, but no one in Idaho has the big team that's being built. So on Instagram, so like if someone's in Idaho wants to get into solar, they'll find me and they'll come to me.
Nice. Yeah, that's
So,
sweet.
Basically
Yeah.
making it a no-brainer to come work for me.
Nice.
Get to the top, you're gonna have other people trying to catch up with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's already starting to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people are stealing kind of like my posts and reposting them just with different dates and stuff.
Right
So
on. Yeah.
that's when you know you're doing it right.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's a good sign.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had one video go viral.
Nice.
That was pretty insane.
Right
I
on.
mean, Brian was freaking out.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
need to be selling something. So funny.
Capitalize on it. But I wanted to talk about leadership because the three of us, we're all leaders. I feel like as a man, I think I've talked about this in the show. I feel like as a man, you're born a leader. Like we're meant to lead.
Yeah.
Do you guys agree with that?
I think there's different levels of that, but I think it is part of our nature, I guess.
I think it has to be. Well, at least for me, I've always felt that way, especially with like a younger brother
Yeah.
and like just anyone in your life. Like if you have family, you know, everyone looks up to you. But now in this case, for business, like you're leading a team, I got guys that I'm leading.
Yeah.
What's the best way to elevate on that?
I think it's making it feel like you believe in them
Yeah.
is the biggest strength.
That's a
That's
good
like
point.
the best way. Like, because the way I think about it is go back to when we were all you worked at DeBella, didn't you?
For a little bit, yeah.
You did too? Dustin, how did he make you feel?
It's a good relationship.
Good relationship.
Felt important.
You felt important, and the way he did it was by like making you feel like you could become successful there. And so I think that's the way you have to portray yourself to everyone else.
Oh yeah.
Is believing in them.
Nice.
You know, it's like Dawson, one of our new guys. People weren't sure if he's gonna be successful, but I just like made him do. When we went out on the doors, like, dude, you're one of the best new guys I've ever seen.
Nice.
Just like hyped him up, and then all of a sudden he starts producing leads.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
I think
right
that's
on.
one of the biggest things.
Yeah, we've talked about that a little bit more. We found that we were talking about encouragement goes a lot further than
Iron fisting.
Yeah. No doubt. Yeah.
And
critiquing.
yeah.
It's hard though, because at a point, like when someone's new and you see their potential,
Yeah.
and you know how much better they could be. It's hard to get the point across of like, listen, you're doing good, but you need to change everything. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're not doing this right. So it's hard to
Correct him.
correct it and
Yeah.
still be polite and still be like, you know, not talk down on them, but also bring them up. Have you found any good ways to do that, like with your guys?
And when I was in Brazil, I lived there for 4.5 years. If like we worked with a team of 10 young adults, I guess, and like if somebody was not doing something right or you know they were messing up all the time, I couldn't just say, you know, you're doing this wrong. You couldn't be blunt with Brazilians. They're a pretty sensitive group of people. And so what worked really well was saying, you know, capitalizing on what they're doing well and then trying to understand why they're making the mistakes. So saying, you know, if they're leaving a door too fast, for example, in your guys' industry, you can ask them why do you leave so soon, and in a good way, and then they'll explain to you why, and they'll reason in their head, and then you can explain off the logic that they used as to why they made the mistake, then you can capitalize on that to correct it, basically. And so if, you know, I left the door too soon because I got nervous and panicked and left, or, you know, they just shut me down right away, then you can say, okay, well, you know, it's not your job to care if they shut you down or not. It's your job to stay there and market lead. And so getting to the bottom of the root of their reasoning in their mistake, because nobody makes a mistake willingly, right? We all make mistakes because of, you know, lack of information or something else. And so if you can understand why they thought that was the right thing to do, then you can correct that and point them in the right direction. You have to work with them, and through that, you know, you get their respect as well. And so then it's easier. It's a exponential thing that gets easier and easier.
So say what they did right, figure out what they did or why they did what they did wrong, and then explain with logic.
Yeah, their logic, the logic that they used.
That they use.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's the challenge, yeah.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
I was gonna say the way I do it is kind of it's like similar to a book from what is it? How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think is the name of it.
Yeah.
They say to do like 1 or 2 compliments on something that the person is doing, but it has to be personalized to them.
Yeah.
And then you mention one thing that they did incorrectly, like this is where you could work on, but then you end it with another positive.
It's always a balance, isn't it?
And everything you could argue the opposite way.
Yeah.
Every single decision you make.
That's pretty true.
Like you could have argued I should have kept that kid because he produces. But then you also have to have the abundant mindset that you're going to find more people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of the hardest things is letting go of somebody who does produce. Because because they're a good employee, but they're either not representing you very well or your company, and that costs you a lot more in the long run.
Yeah.
Plus,
building a strong culture, I think, is one of the hardest parts, but also the most important. Because if they don't fit the culture, like for instance, if they're coming into meetings late but they produce leads, then it shows that the leader isn't strong enough to put that person in check. And they won't let them go just because they produce. And then that in turn allows other people to start coming in late.
Right.
And then it all just kind of crumbles from there.
Yeah, it makes
or
sense.
If people drink alcohol the night before and come in hungover, then other people think it's okay.
Yeah.
And like if you allow one thing to happen, it happens to everyone.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the biggest thing I've learned in the last 6 months of doing this. Is I need to like more cut that right away.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. So do you have like any sort of a probation period where they can like get better at their shortcomings?
Of course, yeah. Of course, you have to do that like once or twice, but then after that, it's bye-bye.
Have you found an easier way to do it, or
no?
Have you just?
I think it's always hard.
Yeah.
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 That's gonna hold you back.
You think?
Do you think you'll have to fire people in the future?
Heck yeah.
So it's something, because the way I look at it, if you have to fire somebody, you're holding them, because they're putting themselves in a position where they can't grow, right? So you firing them just opens up another opportunity for them. That's how I look at it.
Yes,
Genuinely.
I look at it that way, but it's a lot easier when you're not the one having to do it, to say it.
Yeah.
Especially when like my job as a leader is to build relationships with everyone.
Yeah,
That's like
it's
that
true.
would be like me
It's
firing
true.
you.
Yeah.
Very hard.
Hard
thing.
conversation.
Very hard conversation.
Have you noticed your conversations have been getting harder and harder? as you've
Yes, dude.
been growing in life.
It like I thought like for instance when I was a salesman, I was like cool. Once I become a good salesman, I'll be like the happiest guy ever.
Oh, yeah.
Then I got pretty good at it, and then I got bored of it, and then I was like, okay, now I want to become a leader, and it's getting super hard right now because I'm having to make all these decisions, and I'm sure eventually that'll become second nature, and then I'm gonna chase the next thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the conversations just get harder and harder.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Just the next level.
Yeah, harder decisions to make. That's why it's the next level.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, nice. And that's why, I don't know, most successful people are savage.
Yeah.
You know, you can't let your emotions get in the way of your business. You have to separate the two.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the hardest things as well. Yeah.
That's actually a really good point.
I think it all depends on how many eggs you have in one basket. You know, if all your eggs are in the basket of that one guy that, you know, is showing up late and ruining your culture, then it's going to be way hard for you to fire him. But if you don't put that much importance into a certain person, then it makes it a lot easier. But you can also be disingenuous. So there's a big balance, I guess, that you need to get. So when you hire people, do you try to get a feel for them and how they're going to fit with your culture, or?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of under the abundance. Like I'll hire people because they surprise me sometimes. Like that Miles kid. Savage, but like if you would have walked in, like I would have been like, oh my goodness, here we go.
Yeah.
But like he's a dog.
Nice.
Like some of the kids you least expect will be good are good. I think that's where I still lack because I can't pick up on it still.
Well, that's why we do it, man. That's why we do this show. We're still learning. We're developing. We're not there. We'll always mention that. We're just on the way there.
Yeah.
So we're sharing what we've learned so far with this process.
I think the big things I look for is confidence, positive attitude, and like is actually there on time. Those are like the three main things I look for because I think when you hire someone who's already good at sales, they come in with bad habits.
That makes
like
sense.
we have to retrain. Whereas like I'd rather have someone who has no sales skill come in that I can mold the way I want them to, and then that just comes with having a good positive attitude and having good work ethic.
Yeah, makes
That's
sense.
about it.
Yeah, Brandon Dawson, I went to a conference in Miami a few weeks ago, and one of the things that he talked about was hire for attitude and train for results.
Yeah.
And that was really good. Yeah, I think, if you hire an old dog with bad tricks, it's going to be harder. So, it makes sense. Yeah.
And then it also doesn't teach them, like, there's respect in the office, too, you know? Like, the kids who start door knocking and then turn into a closer, like, that's just a respect thing in this industry.
Nice.
So how many guys do you have with you, working with you?
So right now just 2, but so when we transition to what our goals are for 2024, we'll probably just stick with 2 because we don't really need any more than that. So each of them will be running 3 jobs basically. So
you and then 2 other guys, and they'll both have 3 jobs running.
Yeah, so I've been spending this whole last year basically bringing them up to speed on what I want them to do for me for the next year.
And they're all in, they're bought into you?
Yeah.
How'd you get them bought in? What'd you do?
So motivate them. You gotta, show them the upside. So, yeah.
Give me an example.
So, like for Joe, for example, he really wants to develop like apartment complexes. And so I told him, I said, these are the stepping stones we need to do before we can get to that point. And then once we're to that point, we're all in. And he got rejected from the military for flying. He's, like I said, an aeronautical engineer, and his lifelong dream is to fly for the military. And his brother is a pilot. He flies A-10s. But Joey couldn't because of some health issues. And so I told him, I said, look, I'm confident that with our brains put together that we can make enough money to where you can buy your own fighter jet if you want. And so and I fully believe that. I have no doubt in my mind that it'll happen. And so just meeting their needs I think is important because they're meeting mine. So
anytime I set up a big goal, bro, like nothing would faze me from going after that. So that's good.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things and hardest things for me is to not be greedy or selfish. I want them to grow with me and not, me grow and they stay where they're at, because that's, nobody's going to stick around. So,
that makes sense.
and it's not something that, that I could do by myself. And so I need those 2 to really, carry the weight. And so giving them, their share of the pie, I think is really important. So, but
they wouldn't go anywhere else. They just like you that much, or is it because you laid out a plan to get to where they want to go that you think they're so interested?
I think that they've gotten attached to the idea that they can be a part of something that they can be proud of for a long time, and so getting them kind of all on the same page has been something that I've been working toward for the last year, and finally getting to that point. And so and once they're bought into an idea, it's hard to leave that. So
because you started originally in sales, do you think that's almost like a sale?
It is. Oh, absolutely.
I have to ask you because
it's a new sale.
It's interesting because Brian and I were talking about this the other day. I'm like, first you learn how to sell a product, but the next level is selling people to work for you and building their dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's weird.
Yeah, and so like in sales, you have to have a really good offer, and in employment you do as well. And so if I'm going to work for you, what's your offer to me?
Right.
And so it's a give and take. So,
100%.
Yeah.
Value exchange.
Yeah.
Value exchange
has to be there for both parties.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah. And if you want, level 10 talent, you have to compensate for that, because level 10 talent isn't going to work for level 2 opportunities.
Yeah.
So
100%.
Yeah. Like in your space, you hire, people that have a lot less experience, and they don't really, I'm assuming, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming they don't really know exactly where they want to go in life. They just know they want to get out of where they're at currently.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that's awesome, because like people that go to college and stuff, they go to college to find themselves, whereas in a sales job or any high-paying job that's based on results, I feel like that 10x's your opportunities just on itself, and so training somebody into that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it will teach you a lot about life too when you're out there on those doors.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you something, because getting into a sales job has taught me a lot. Did you guys know like every aspect of business before actually being on a sales side of working for a company?
No.
Like I feel like it taught me a lot about how a business operates and gets money.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had no clue this is how the game was.
Yeah.
Like especially thinking back to like 3 years ago or even 5 years ago when I was in high school. Like the perspective you gain in the real world is just insane when you go into a sales position.
Nice.
I think it's kind of interesting too, where most of the people like we look up to, they all started in sales, and then I bet you they all transitioned into running a sales team or something similar, and then they all transition into owning a company.
Yeah, it could be.
It's interesting, like to think about that. Like Grant Cardone, sales guy, ran a sales team, now runs the company. Andy Elliott, the exact same model.
Yeah.
And then once they get to owning the company, that's when the buku bucks come. But like the skill set you learn along the way in sales gets you to that level.
Yeah, that's pretty true. And I think sales is essential to business. It's like the lifeblood of a business. And so if you don't have any sales skills, you're going to have a really hard time getting, anywhere. Now that you're not so much into into sales, you're building your team. How has that been for the transition? Has it been a steep learning curve?
Steep learning curve.
Yeah, I bet.
Steep learning curve.
Is it your first go at building a team?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Well, I mean, I've been doing for like 6 months. But yeah.
Right on.
I think I've learned that I don't really like to sales train people that much. So I'm trying to like find that person to do it for me.
Nice.
And then me kind of just like exit out of the whole thing.
Right on.
Is the game plan, but the way you have the most influence is by being the best sales guy.
Okay, yeah.
Like, no one's going to deny that from you ever, so.
Yeah, that makes sense.
True.
Yeah.
It's definitely true.
Like, I know my influence is high specifically because, well, I did recruit people, but the way I recruited them was because I was the best sales guy. So.
Are you the most skilled builder out of your 3 guys?
Yeah.
See?
I have the most experience for sure, so, yeah.
That's just the natural, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Right?
What do you mean?
Like the natural totem pole. Like the person who's done the most has earned that spot at the top.
Yeah.
Right? So other people are going to want to climb naturally.
Yeah.
So they'll listen to what you'll have to say.
Yeah.
Because you've already been there, done that.
Right.
But I think the leader's job is not to do everything. Like, so for instance, how solar works is we have a closer and we have multiple setters for them.
Yeah.
So, and we also have to have like hype. So I'm not a hype guy. So I found a hype guy.
Nice.
I don't think I'm the best sales trainer, so I'm in the process of finding that person that can do it for me. I mean, I'm decent, but it's not like my passion.
What's your strength then?
Finding people and putting them in the right places.
Nice.
That's what a boss does.
Yeah.
It's realizing their shortcomings.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I think that's such a good mindset to have of, realizing that you're not the best at something and then finding somebody who is really good at that thing. Because we can't be, we only have one expertise usually. And so, finding the person with that expertise is so important. In construction, all the old guys say, oh, I'd rather do it myself because I can do it better or whatever.
Yeah.
And that might be true because you don't have to explain it to somebody else, but do that, 10 times a year, and somebody else could focus on just that one thing and do it a lot better than you within a year.
Yep.
So, putting people in the right place and then enabling them to make that their expertise if it's not already, that's good.
Yeah.
Versus putting all the weight on your shoulders.
Yeah, delegating is huge. But I mean, I learned what I like to do, I should focus on.
Nice.
Like I like to make videos on the internet.
Yeah.
80% of my team came from it,
Nice.
which in turn builds everything. So maybe I should primarily be focusing on that instead of selling.
Nice.
So
yeah, that's
it's
good.
just a different mindset. Because like if I'm doing what I'm doing right now, I'm gonna keep getting the results I'm getting. So I have to change it up.
Yeah.
Just trying to find that way to get there.
Well, I got one more question for both of you, and then we'll wrap up. So a lot of people my age, so I'm 23, born in 2000. I'm at the year where most people would go through their 4 years of college and then graduate. So if someone did go through that process, they graduated and then they got into a position where they're getting like a salary job, let's say like 60,000 a year, and they hated it, what would you recommend? I want both your opinions.
You want to go first? Do you want me to take it?
If you got something, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I did that. So I think the best thing you can do is realizing there's two ways to look at the question. Number one, I don't think anyone absolutely loves what they do.
Yeah.
Like, just being point blank honest. Like, I don't love going out every day and selling things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love it. Like, it's not my passion in my life.
Yeah.
Like, you can make $1 billion doing concrete that you hate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's money in everything. So I think what you should do is go around and try a bunch of things and find something you somewhat like or something that you're naturally good at.
Yeah.
How about you, David?
I think that's good advice. Just try out a bunch of different things and see what works. But also, on the other side, I think it's good to have, if you're at a $60K a year job and don't like it, it's probably because of the money more than anything. It could be a crappy job, but figuring out where you want to go, I think, is probably the first step. And okay, this isn't cutting it for me. This isn't what I want my life to look like. And so then figuring out what you want your life to look like, then you can figure out, what it's going to take to get there. So.
Yeah.
So the people that just graduated college, they're getting into their position, they're feeling like a, adult, getting their own stuff, 60K a year salary, working full time, 9 to 5. Some people like that, right?
Yeah.
Most people like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the person that we're trying to talk to is the person that has fallen into the line of people just doing that and realize that, dude, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
their advice is to do what?
Exactly
Send
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I think when you're at that age, for some weird reason, you think you're old and it's time to figure your life out. Dude, you're not 20 anymore. Like, you're 23, 24. Like, you should already be established, is what people say.
Right.
But in reality, 23, 24, you're still a freaking kid.
Uh-huh.
I'm still a kid. I'm 27. I feel like I'm getting old, but, like, I'm
Yeah.
still a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you just need to take the risk or you're going to be stuck doing that for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad, to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
because there's so much pressure from outside society to go to school, get a salary.
Yeah.
Dude, I couldn't even live on 60 grand a year.
Mm-hmm.
I spend that all the time. I spend hundreds of dollars a day at this point. It's bad
Uh-huh.
because I'm trying to build something, but
Yeah.
I mean, 60K, like, you're not giving up much. Go try something. If you fail, go back to your 60K job.
Yeah. And I think that, if it's too risky for you to go out and do, what you want to do, then make your bills less.
Yeah.
If you only need to make $2,000 a month, you can do that easy.
Dude, yeah.
But, you have to get to the point to where you want it bad enough that you'll take the jump, I think. So, and that's the hardest part. We get stuck in our comfort, and your comfort zone is the most dangerous place you can ever be.
Exactly. That's what I was going to get at. It's more risky not to than to.
Yeah.
Like,
more
dude,
risky.
the guy that was considering switching over to doing a full commission job where he was tired of making his $600 a week, he thought it was too risky, bro. I think it's too risky to stay there.
100%.
I told him that. I said,
Yeah.
bro,
Yeah.
it's too risky to stay there.
Yeah.
But why doesn't everyone see it? Why doesn't everyone understand?
There's a reason they're called the 1%.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Every single person you walk past basically in the streets doesn't think that way.
No. And I mean, I think it's ignorance. They don't want to know what the next step is. They don't want to know what it's going to take to get there. They're not willing to look for it. And so, yeah, you gotta do it. It's not just something that's going to fall in your lap.
It all comes back to what you want, because I just can't sympathize with that, because I've never seen life that way, because I know what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I don't
most,
want-
most people don't think that way. Most people just want to
It's crazy.
raise a family, have a normal house,
Mhm.
have a normal car,
Yeah.
and that's not what any of us want, I don't think. I don't know about what you want, but I know a lot about what he wants, and that's not the way.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It would be a lot more comfortable to be sitting around thinking, how am I going to fulfill on these jobs versus how am I going to pay this bill?
Yeah.
That would be hell for me. Yeah.
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 And I think too, when scaling a business, I actually almost like kind of got stuck in that comfort zone for a little bit, just being real. Like,
Comfort zone is dangerous.
Not
place.
like stuck, but I didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
Like I had a little bit of a team going, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, how do I get it to the next level? But I was afraid to spend my money that I had made. I think that held me back for a period of time. Because now it's like, okay, I bought the camera. Now look how much it's helped me. Now I'm buying like banners. I'm paying people to shoot content for me. I'm paying people to edit my videos. I'm paying to get photo shoots. But like 2 or 3 months ago, I would have never spent money on that, and I know it's gonna pay like exponentially. And now I just look at it like every dollar I make, I'm just gonna spend it on the business and pray it works. Like I bought gear for the whole team. I took us to Top Golf yesterday. Like I'm just trying to spend it all in hopes to make more back. Versus like, ooh, cool, I have money in the bank account. Like I think you need to spend it to make it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's easier said than done. It's so much easier said than done, dude.
Absolutely.
But same with you.
Yeah.
Your money allows you to buy equipment.
Yeah.
So you can do more jobs.
Yeah, absolutely.
More variability.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit different, I think. Because like you need that stuff, but in like our game, like spending $1,000 going to Top Golf, it seems stupid. But in reality, it builds a team and a structure and a core. For instance, throwing out, we did $1,000 shoe incentive. To most people, that was stupid. But look at what the results drove from it was. Like, but I was afraid to do it.
Well, you said you don't need it to do that Top Golf stuff, but David actually needs it. But in reality, you don't need it. You could stay the same without spending that. The investment just allows for the growth.
Fair.
In both cases.
I guess what I'm saying is he's buying like assets.
Yeah.
You know, they're the monetary things. Ooh, I buy this $50,000 tool. If I don't need it, next year I can sell it or whatever the case is. It's a little different. This is more like spending money or not. It doesn't return ever. You don't think. You know, like in most people's brain, it's burning it.
Right.
In most people's brain, that's how they would think, and that's how I used to think.
Yeah. So if you look at like big companies like that are doing 300,000 or 300 or 400 million a year, they spend at least $1 million a month on advertising, just advertising. $1 million, $1.2 million a month. And that's, you know, a lot of us would think that's money just being burned. But that's what's making them that $300 or $400 million. So,
But I think obviously you need equipment. Like there's no doubt about that. But it's very interesting that I think that's honestly something my girlfriend's taught me. It's like marketing is literally the king. It's like selling thousands of people. Is what you're doing. Think about it. It's literally what it is. We know how to sell people one-on-one. But once you can sell like thousands and thousands of people, that's when you get to like millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and like you say, you know, being able to have the courage to spend that money is so hard because you don't know if you're just like you guys with buying leads. It was just money washed down the drain. So a couple more bad experiences like that, somebody could easily get cold feet and never do it again. And then they're stuck.
100%. I think.
So.
I mean, you gotta risk it though.
Absolutely.
Like, it's just scary.